I think I am live now, though I'm not sure. So let me just check that if I'm live. Yes, I'm live. Let me just check my voice as well. Yes, I'm live. Let me just check my voice as well. Okay, so everything is fine. Let me keep my headphones away. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna discuss, since it's my part one, that what is ewaa. So let's go to my project directory, and here I have ewaa. So let's go here, clear all this thing. So basically, what's ewaa? Ewaa is something, it's a software or any project that I'm making to transfer audio from your Android to Linux and from your Linux to your Android. Basically, it will allow you to use your Android as a mic for your PC or Linux, and it can also be used to use your Android as a speaker for your PC, Linux PC. Okay, so I build here something. Let me show you guys. First of all, I have a script build ewaa, which I made using ChatGPT. Basically, compile my program and link everything. After that, will give me this binary with ewaa. So currently, I have nothing. I have just I'm just printing a array in which I have this thing, and if I press Q, I exit, and if I press Control C, I exit, and if I press Enter anywhere, then nothing happens. So it's a very basic project till now. So I thought, why not share or do a live stream while building this project? Another thing that I want to discuss with you guys, that I will be using FTX UI to make this TUI, this one. Okay, let me go to GitHub page. Here you can see that I'm gonna use this library to make this TUI. So we're gonna read a lot of documentations here, because if you read my description, there I explain everything, that I'm not gonna use any uh, I'm not gonna say that I'm not going to use any AI. I will try my level best to not to use that, what we say, AI, and go through a lot of documentation while building this thing. Okay, so let me just open my main file here. Okay, I'm not gonna use neovim here because I'm not very great. So I will open my Z editor here, and I'll close this thing. Okay, and go to source and main.cpp. So currently I have only one file, so I can close this as well. Control LP. Okay, Control L. Sorry, what I have done. This thing. Control LP. Control LP. Okay. Control LP. Okay, ठीक. So this is my project. I'm using FTX UI, as I already told you. Namespace standard, and I'm using this file here to create an app with full screen, and then I have a vector with input. Basically, what I'm trying to do here, we have input of Android devices that are connected to your systems. Then we will have options, like you want to, for options I can write here, you want to capture your mic, or you want to capture the audio here. So these are the two options that ewaa will give you. And then you have output. In basically output, you have only one thing, that is your Linux PC. But when the final ewaa will be there, so what will be the design? Let me just tell you that thing. Let me connect my this drawing pad. Just wait for a second, guys. Okay, so with the ewaa, I want to give 3 columns. First one is like this one, then this one, and then this one, plus, and one is 0. This is for input, this is your options, and this is your output. And you guys will have your, what we say, this is our terminal window. Okay, so in input, you see, you are going to see your all the Android, sorry, you're going to see all your Android devices and your Linux PC as well. Okay, like suppose that you have one Android, two Android, and then you have your PC. And similarly, you will have here 1, 2, and your PC, and here you will have option mic and what we say that simple audio. Okay, so if here you select any of the Android, then these options will disappear and you have only Linux option. And here if you choose your PC, then this will disappear and you have to choose one of the Androids where you want to transfer your mic or your audio. So this is what I want to build. I want to show them 3 columns. And initially I made a to-do list to make the process very easy and divide this very big project in smaller tasks. Because if you see the bigger project in the very beginning, you might get overwhelmed, and like many other projects that I abandoned, I might also do the same thing with this one. So this is the complete overview, but we are not going to discuss this thing. Let me show you the to-do list first. Okay. This is my Leetcode tracker that I sometimes do, but last question I solved it on 8 March. Okay, so this is the structure that I'm thinking. So currently for first week, my target is to do this thing where I have to build a basic TUI. And for this, I already did this thing, because if you see, I can, basically I created a TUI which I can exit by Control C, and I also allowed it to take the input like press Q to exit. So these 2 tasks are done. And if you're interested at how I'm doing this press Q option, there is this catch event which I just copied from one of the example given by the UI library itself. One second, please. Sorry. So here I'm catching the event where if I press Q, I'm exiting my this thing. Though I'm not completely sure how this thing is working, but anyway, I just copied this thing from the library documentations. Now for today, I think our task will be to create 3 columns: input, options, and output, and display them. Display what you say, a vector string in all columns. So these 2 are our tasks for today, that we are going to 3 columns and displaying all the 3 different vectors in those columns. So if you see here, I created 3 columns already, one with the input and one with the options and one with the output. So in FTX, what they do, they take they when you create a menu, like this is a menu that you are creating, so they ask you first the data. For the data, I have given them my string, vector of string, and then they ask you an index. Basically, when you're gonna iterate through this menu or this string, they keep a index here in this, the variable that you pass here, they will maintain a index that you are currently on. Suppose if I'm on ewaa, sorry, I'm here. So this is a complete vector which have three things: input one, input two, and input three, like these three things. Okay. So what's happening when I click here, like now I'm on index one, now I'm on index three. So if I press enter here, so that uh, which option is currently selected is maintained here. So we are passing that here, and this is the option to how to show this thing, how to show your menu. There is, I think, one is horizontal animated. Let's just first use only horizontal. Now what we're gonna do here, we're gonna quit this thing, build ewaa, and these scripts can be run from anywhere. I'm currently in my home directory, not in my project directory, but still I can use this thing. Now if I do here, still nothing changed. I don't know why, but we will see that thing. Okay, so this is just basic stuff. I told you what we are going to build. We're going to create these three columns with this data. Okay, and I was studying. I was just playing with the renderer and everything. Though I got very confused here because they use very this kind of thing. What is shared pointer, component base? I got very confused with these things. And here also, if you see component and everything, like I don't very familiar with this type of syntax, and I'm not very good in C++ as well. So we're gonna go through documentation. Okay. They also provide a very good set of examples. Sorry, good set of examples from where I copied this last part. So if we go from start, this is to create an app. And one more thing that I want to share with you guys, that they have modules. This library has modules, mainly three modules: screen, DOM, and component. Okay, so I never built anything by reading projects. Sorry, I never built any project reading documentation. So this is my first time. So please don't judge me how I read documentation. This is my first time, but I'm trying it. So now that we want to display a menu, we're gonna go here. In introduction part, there is nothing. They shown their features and everything. Some example. This is the example where they there they used DOM instead of component, and something like this is on the screen. So can I use this thing to, okay, so this thing, this code you are seeing currently is only one time thing. Like when you run, like currently if I run ewaa, I see this thing and it stays there. I can interact with this thing. But with this code, what it will do when you run ewaa, it will just print this thing. You see this thing? It will just print here and exit. So it's not a live, and there is no loop running inside this code. So let's go to next thing, getting started. So it has three modules, as I already told you. Screen one is the lowest one. Above screen, we have DOM, the layout engine. It provides a set of elements that can be composed to create complex and responsive layouts. Okay. And there are some component. The third module is component. The interactive layer, it handles user input keyboard. Okay. It handles, okay. Installation guide is okay. So, okay. This code I'm talking about, like in previous code that I shown you, there is also this screen.print. So it's a static UI. But if you want something interactive, so you're gonna have to use components. Here, no components are used, only screen and DOM. So from screen, we are printing this everything. Now that we are in the interactivity part, so we're gonna use the component as well. So here now we are using components. In component, one is of course the itself component, and other one is app.hpp. I recently learned about header files, what are .hpp extension files in CPP from learncpp.com. It's a good site if you want to learn more about CPP. Okay, so now that I have one entry, this is the selected where they will maintain the index of current entry. And you can decorate components using the pipe operators. Okay, so now let's open our code. This is our code. Let me make it a little smaller. No. So can I reduce its size? Okay. So we will first print only the first one, this first column here, auto menu. I'm just using the same thing. I just provide an additional. If you see the syntax of menu, it asks you from. It has three parameters. One is constant string list reference. That is basically the name of the vector that I'm currently using. Another thing is selected, and another one is menu options, in which you can write something like this: menu option dot vertical double four dots. So this is something. Okay. So this is the menu one. Okay. And if you want, so let me just delete this line. At first, I'm gonna build. Okay, so let me just comment this line, this whole section only. Cause this I copied from some other code. Okay, so we are not gonna see this thing. Okay. Now we have a screen. Okay. You see, here with app, I use full screen, and here with app, they are using an option called terminal output. So basically what terminal output do, if I'm writing here ewaa, and when I press enter, this complete complete screen will be used by my program. But if I have terminal output here instead of this full screen, then I will see my UI here only below this exact text. It will not take complete space of terminal. So I want a full screen, so I used a full screen. But if you want something that comes in your terminal and doesn't occupy, or if you want to see the previous lines as well, so you can use terminal as well. Now that I have app ready, I have input, output, and options string also ready. Now for creating a menu, it want entry selected, and for starters, let's just not give this thing any this menu options kind of thing. Okay, and then at last we will have auto component. You can decorate component using the pipe operators. Okay, so one more thing that I read somewhere while I was studying about what TUI library I should use to make a TUI application in C++, that FTX UI uses a lot of lambda and this pipe operators. So basically what it does, if you ever used Linux terminal and use the pipe operator in Linux, it works the same way. So what it does, we created a menu here. It takes this menu and pass it to this border, and now this menu will have border. So this is I'm explaining with very simple terms because I know that much only for now. Now that I have menu with everything, data and this index, I'm going to write a auto component. So this is a name. Okay. When I do this, menu one, and I will type this thing in. You see this border, let's just write this thing like this one. Okay. Now that I have auto component, what is this component? Is the type of this component is AK shared pointer component base. I don't understand what this share pointer is, but for now let it be like this only. Now we will in our app, but we named it screen dot, gonna run a loop, and inside a loop we have to write a give a component. So here we gonna cancel. I don't want to close. Here I will give my component question mark and return 0 control S. Now let's build ewaa. Ewaa is build, sorry. Okay, so now we are seeing this input here. What if? So this components type is component only. So instead of getting it named as component, it will be confusing. It's a name of a variable, so I can write it anything like, let me write it xy, and then I have to change here as well xy, and the type of this xy is component, I guess. Yes. Will I get an error with this thing? Okay, so now I can't exit. Oh, you see, I have a border also here. You see this border? Initially it was not there, but now I can't exit this thing with control Q because I have commented out that part. Now let's build ewaa again and let's see if we get an error. No, we are not getting any error. It's just working fine. But now what if instead of passing this parameter and this pipe function here, I directly do it here and then I pass menu one here. I think it should work. So I'm for let me just get dashed, and we are not using any element. What's the data type of this thing menu? It is also a what we say component only. So I will delete this part, and instead of xy, now I'm gonna write directly menu one. And though we since we know that it and the data type of menu one will be component, let's just use this thing. Oh, so we are, and the main reason since I'm here, I just want to clarify that why I don't use neovim, because first of all it's very hard for me, and second one, to set up something like this where I see the definitions and everything like this, what are the parameters that they are taking, it's very hard to set up, and I don't want to waste much of my time setting up something that I will rarely use. That's why I'm using this. Okay, so component based definition, but I want to use component now. Let's just use component. So I think this should work. Control S. Last time I didn't press Control S. That's why we didn't see any change. It's built. See, now we have the border dash type and everything is still working. And with the JK, I can go up and down, and with arrow keys as well. Why my laptop is feeling hot? I think running multiple times build ewaa, it it caused my system to get hot. Okay, so we printed one menu. Let's just use this thing and make 3 menus with menu 2, menu 3. Oh, so I created menu 1 and it taken complete, what we say, screen. If I run ewaa right now, you see this complete column. This is only one menu and it's taking complete, but I want it to be like first one, second one, and third one. So I think I should resize this thing. They must have something here. We can browse the examples from here now. Okay, let me open examples in new tab. There are a lot of examples here. These are some components example. Then we have some DOM examples. So where we are here with the border. Let's read the code of this one. So here they are creating, okay, so here they are not using this inbuilt menu, which create a menu. They are using DOM, and with the DOM, they are using this, what we call H box, means horizontal box. And in one horizontal box, let me just open this thing in new tab. And now I will do it here. So this horizontal box means this horizontal box start from here, goes here. That means this complete thing is a horizontal box from here and here. And here I added 3 vertical box, 1, 2, 3. V box 1, V box 2, V box 3. And each box, V box I pass to a border so that I have a border. Okay. But I don't want this. I want something like that can read from vectors. Let me just close this one. Okay, now we have border colored. Here they colored every text element. Let's just read here also. So they make boxed. See, this is and this is what I call what we call this thing lambda function. This square bracket and then this. Okay. So they made the same thing thrice. Let me open this thing again in new tab. So then horizontal box, then separator, make box, and then separator color red, separator color. What is this thing? Okay, so this is what a lambda function where they are not using any, what we say, then they are not using something from outside. If you use any variables that if you want to use some variables from outside of the function scope, you pass them here. And there is also one more bracket here, round bracket, simple curly, round bracket like this one for capturing parameters. And then here is your main function body. So what this function is returning, it's just returning a text of border light. You see, text of border light with border style is light and color red. Okay, light means border style and color means like what's the color. Okay, border style double rounded heavy. Heavy means bold and dashed. Okay. Now the document that we're gonna print here, we used hbox. Okay, we are going to create a horizontal box like this one. We called the function, our lambda function make box, and which printed everything. So this first box is created, then comma separator. What does this do? I think this will create this separator line, and then color red, and the line of this separator is red. Then we create another make box. We passed another separator here. We make it red, and at last we call one more. And then with complete border, we pass this complete horizontal box in a rounded and color red. Now this is screen. Okay, it's a static UI, so we have to create a screen. Okay, I got it. So should I use DOM here? No, I'm not gonna use DOM. But for understanding purpose, should I use it for now? And should I delete everything that I written so far? I think so. It's a laptop. Okay. I understood this thing, so I'm not going to do anything. Let's see some examples of component. Am I live or? Uh, ah, one menu. Let's just use this thing. Okay, everything is fine. No issue. So we are here with the components example. See here, it created some box colored. I was at button, nah? Button animated, button in frame. Let's just see the code of first this simple button here. This is a helper function to create a button with custom style. The style is defined by a lambda function that takes an entry state, and oh, here we are having some good comments. Let's see. Okay, this is for the app. Okay, that we are writing here with the full screen and everything. Captured mouse for FTX UI for button horizontal and renderer. Okay. Component base for component base. For separator queues, text operators, this operator if you want to use VBox and everything. So I think I should include all these things. Let me just write here Control V and press Control S. Though I'm not using this library here, is not directly used. Okay, but border dashed. Okay. Now, this is also fine. Now that I have this is a helper function, button style. But there is no, is this a function? Button option is what we are returning. What is button option? Button option data type defined by this library? How can I search for that thing? Define data types. Let me open a new window first. So this one, and open another browser, FTX UI here. Now just files, file members, all. And if I search for, no. I want to check for data types. This is file list, not of my use. Classes, members, variables. Okay. It's not a variable as well. It's a defined data type. Class list. What we will see here. Okay. Class hierarchy. I just want to see that where is that code? What is this button option? I think this is a return type. Sorry, a customized data type. But where I can find the, okay, what if I just copy this code here and then let me just remove all this code and remove this as well. Since you are just learning, now you see all the libraries that are unused, only this F1 is used. That's a good thing that this Z editor is showing me. Okay. This is a helper function to create a button with custom style. Okay, so as I told you, when I creating a menu, the first parameter that we passed is what is menu option? How can I get information of something? If I press add space. So while creating menu, I told you that there are three options. First one was the name of the string or array or vector. Another one was the index, and the third one was about the style that you want to apply on that menu. So this might be useful for applying any style on a button. That's what they written here. The style is defined by a lambda function that takes an entry state and returns an element. So we didn't define, so this is the function where we did auto option, button option animated. And then what we did here, we did this thing that option dot transform. I'm not getting this thing. Let me see how this thing is working. So when we hover over some button, it get bold, and also the background color changes. These two things are happening on hovering over the button. So what they are doing, what they are doing, the first they created an option with button option animated. Let me write this thing first, because when I will write, this editor will show me a detail about some of the function. Let me just copy this thing first. Control C and Control V. So now if I show unknown type name, did you mean ftux? Okay, I didn't use that using namespace. Okay, let me just write that as well. See, using namespace ftx ui. Now the error is gone. Now we see struct button option, brief option for the animated button component, options for the animated button. So struct. So I named it style, and here I have button option animated, component options. So option for animated buttons, auto option. Then we created, okay, so I think here I created a button option. This is a custom style that I want to apply on my button, and I named this thing as style. Then I created this thing an option because I want to animate my button, so I use this. Otherwise there must be some pre-built as well. Let me just do it like, see, we have an animated sky border and everything on click and this thing. So I used animated here. I don't know why, but let it be for a while. Then I took this option and transform. That means on hovering, how this thing is gonna behave. And for that transform, this is a lambda function. Here is nothing. That means it doesn't need something from outside. And this is a parameter that we are passing, that is const entry state. Now I don't know what is the entry state. Entry state is another struct. Arguments for transform from button option, check option, radio block option, menu entry options, menu options. What does that means? Entry state. Is there something? Uh, I just want that entry state. What does this thing mean by entry state? How to find this thing, that what this entry state means? Arguments for transform from arguments from transform. I think it takes, we will see this thing yet. For transform, then auto element text s dot label. What is s here? But we didn't define s anywhere. Okay, sorry. Entry state is here. Okay. Okay. So now this entry state provide me with, I think, when we just copy one more code here. So when we are creating any button here, see that, scroll this thing, we are creating a button here. So when creating a button, we have something, some data here, and this entry state dollar, s means that this will be used here, and s dot label means this -1. So we did this only. Then we define an element with, if s dot focus, then we did element bold. Why we use this equal to sign? What if I don't use it? For that, okay. Now let me just create a simple button. Let me just copy this thing here, Control C, and enter. I created this button here. Should I? Okay. So this button also uses this thing. You see this thing? I think this is the button label, and this is what the button does, and this is what the style. Let me see the syntax of button. Okay, so you see this in constant string ref label, and so this I use the same label here. Okay, so the entry state means this complete state is transferred here, and then I use this s dot label. That means I'm using this thing. Okay, I got it. Let me see the syntax of button again, please. So we are transferring here label, and we are having a function on click. Okay. We are having a function on click. That means, and then we have button option, and that means simple, and we have some style, but we are using a custom style here. Okay, so let me just write value here first. Int value is equal to 50. Now this button decrease 0, 1 will show me label of -1, and on clicking this thing, it will reduce the value of this thing by -1. Again, you see, this is a lambda function, and with this symbol means that it's gonna use every variable defined outside of this lambda here, and then we decrease its value, and this is all this function is going to do. And then we have a custom style. Okay, so I'm not gonna write all the formats. Now we have int row. Auto buttons. Now what is this thing? We are creating this thing, container underscore vertical. I'm not getting this thing now. So I think we are containing something like this. What's happening here? Wait, let me check my live first. Second screen. Here it is. Okay, it's fine. Everything is working. So now, instead of creating 4 buttons, I only created first button here. What's the type of this auto? Sorry, this button decrease. Again, it's a component type. AKA, okay, it's a component type. Now, the tree of components, this define how to navigate using the keyboard. The selected row is shared to get a grid layout. I didn't understand that. The tree of components. Okay, there are multiple components, like there are 4 buttons, 4 components. Please define how to navigate using the keyboard. The selected row is shared to get a grid layout. So we created a int row. Okay, then we created container vertical and something like this. Okay, so with the container vertical, I think it means something like this container vertical, then this thing. And here we have two here. Let me see. We create a container vertical, then the first one we will have something, and then we have this row as well. Oh, okay, I get it. C control C here, and enter, and V here. How to remove this tab here? Shit. Oh, what I did here? Nah. What was this thing? I was trying to use multiple cursors now. Maybe Alt? Okay. Now that I have int row, okay, let me just see what the container is. Oh, container is a namespace. Okay. And what does this container do? Container is just a namespace, man. Here we have vertical, and what this vertical do? Function like vertical. Vertical is a function. Parameter it takes is shared pointer component base. It takes parameter more components. Okay. A list of components draw one by one vertically, drawn one by one vertically, and navigated vertically using up and down. You see this thing? Container vertical children 1, children 2. So here we have component vertical Vertical also returns a component, and we can parameters can have more children's. Uh, for the parameters, you're gonna pass more components. Now that I have this container vertical, now horizontal will be something like a list of components drawn one by one horizontally and navigated by HL key. Okay. So what is the return type of vertical function? Return type is a component only. So button is also a component. Okay, I got it. Now that we have created what, so with this thing, I think with this thing, okay, I guess so. Let me, should I shoot this thing? Where is my pen? So I think with this vertical, I can create anything like this thing vertically. And in this function, I provided two things, this one and this one. So it created this created two separate things, and this each thing like this one here has horizontal of two things, button and this button. So I created here horizontal, and similarly for second. So something like this is what we are getting. Okay, so here we passed one, because if you see this thing, this is also a component only. So now I must have all the buttons here so that I don't get any error. Okay. Now what should I do? Okay, so now we have buttons. Now what we created here, we created this part, this button we created. But what if I don't pass facts, and what is the use of row? Let's see. So if you see here in horizontal section, what is the, okay. So if you see vertical doesn't have any selector here. Vertical doesn't have any selector. In example, if you see, there is no selector here. There is only component. So we just pass component. But in horizontal function, we have parameters like components, and one is selector. And selector refers to the index of the selected children. Okay. You see this thing, children 1, 2, 3, and we have another thing as selected children. Int selected children is equal to 2, and we pass it like this. Okay. And what is the use of this flex? Flex defines how to share the remaining space when not all of it is used inside a container. If I have any knowledge of WebD, so I can understand this pretty easily, but never mind. Okay, so now modify the way to render them on screen, and now how you want to render them. Okay. What is the use of this render function? I want to study that as well. Let me just first copy here, Control V, and this renderer function also returns a component here. So again, the same thing here, but this renderer takes parameter a component child. That is, it takes component, and another thing it take is a function. Return a new component similar to child, but using render as the component render event. Child the component to forward events to render the function drawing the interface. I didn't understand anything here. Return a new component similar to child. Okay, So the first one that we are giving here, it's a child, and it return components. Okay, the first parameter it take is component child. Another thing that it take is the function. What does this means inside here? Does that mean the return type should be an element? I don't know. Return a new component similar to child, but using renderer as the component in the event. So let's say we have a auto screen terminal output. We have a string label. Click to quit. We created a button with this label, and we define what will happen if we clicked on this thing. It will exit the loop. Then we defined our renderer, and inside we used our button, of course, component. We used a component here. Then we define a lambda function which will return a horizontal box which tags a button. What, what's that? That means how you want to render this thing. I still didn't understand what what's the point that they're trying to make. I think the renderer takes a child. Okay, then we do this thing, return hbox, and after that this. Okay. I understood. I understood. Renderer means how you gonna finally you have this thing. You see this thing. This is what we calling complete. This is a component which we calling buttons. Okay. This is a